Hey y'all, Ramdino here, coming at you again for another Appalachian Trail community news, through hiker update, and trail information. So NOBO season is ramping up now, and it's going to continue to keep going. We're tracking lots of folks that are already getting out on the trail. We're starting to get in more and more updates every week, and we're going to keep you updated as the season progresses. So let's go ahead and update you right now. So we got some folks out there that are on the Eastern Continental Trail, and we're reporting on them because they'll eventually be on the Appalachian Trail because the treadways are shared between the two trails. And so they'll eventually be here once they get down the Florida Trail and the Alabama Road Walk and the Pinhoti and then up to the Benton Mackay. Next thing you know, they'll be on the Appalachian Trail. So Tom Hopper's been updating us, and he says the weather is sunny down in Florida, but it took a major change this week. He said it's been really cool and windy. He's woke up with frost on the inside and the outside of his tent. And he spent Tuesday walking in the rain, but he's enjoyed drying out now. Said that this past week he had a chance to see a couple panthers, that also known as cougars, out there on the trail, and they were kind of frolicking and playing around. So it's always neat to see some cougars out on the Appalachian Trail. Of course, he's on the Florida Trail, so Appalachian Trail we know has it. We've talked about that before. Florida Trail has them too. So he saw some of that and got to see some pretty neat wildlife out there. And he says with the cooler temps, the alligators and the snakes, they have stayed hidden this week. So, oh, what a plus when the alligators are not out there on the trail. Picked up a new ECT hiker, and that's Fenway, not to be confused with the Fenway from the Appalachian Trail that we covered last year. But Fenway, he is in the Ocala Forest now and about to hit Palatka, and he indicated that he went to Billy Goat Day. So Billy Goat Day is kind of a through hiker reunion, kind of like Trail Days is for the Appalachian Trail, where folks go. And it originally started back in 2010 when Maui and Paui got together with Chuck Norris and Tigger, and they got a van load of folks, and they went to see Billy Goat. And Billy Goat's kind of a well-known through hiker that's covered the Florida Trail numerous times, and so they all went to see and wish him a happy birthday on his 70th birthday. And that tradition has just continued, and now it's turned into a full-blown like trail days now. So it's just another opportunity for the hiker community down there in Florida on the Florida Trail to get together. So pretty neat to see that happen. And then also, we've also been tracking the Dutch Tin Man, and he is doing all good on the Osceola National Forest. So on the AT, we've got what's going on with them. Well, David Caskey and Brian Ebersol, they have started their hike early. So they'd planned to start a little later, but they started January 24th. They are in the Pennsylvania area, so what they're doing is they're going to try to knock out as much of Pennsylvania as they can by doing some slack packs and just some out and backs. And so that's what their plan is. And then February 16th, they're going to come on down to Springer, start Nobo. And once they get to the parts that they had already done in Pennsylvania, they'll be flipping up around those. So they got week ones in the books. They made it to Duncannon. They said the conditions are not favorable for hiking up there. So it's been very icy. They've got snow, single digit temps during the day. And then, of course, you throw in some wind chill and drifts with that. So, and then not only that, you're in Rocksylvania. So you got ice and snow on the rocks. So I can imagine that's pretty difficult to hike in those conditions up there. But they hope to push more miles next week. Supposed to get up to 50 degrees. So some of that snow and ice will be melting and going away. They have been signing the logbooks as Two Beards. They don't have trail names yet, but eventually, hopefully, they'll be getting their trail names, and they hadn't really seen any other hikers while they've been out there. And then Marty, he got started down in Amicalola Falls State Park. He was number 40 to step off Nobo. His plan was to make it to Hawk Mountain Shelton the first night, and he said the ATC was handing out free bear canisters down at Amicalola Falls State Park. So we're going to talk about that a little more here in the video. He did have some micro spikes with him, but he said he didn't put them on because it wasn't slippery. So there wasn't a lot of ice apparently where he was at the time. But the problem was he couldn't see where he's putting his feet because the snow was ankle to calf deep. So particularly on those northern faces where it never gets any sun and the temps don't just stay up above freezing long enough during the day to melt a lot of that. So he said that the trail down there between the snow and the slippery conditions were really kind of kicking his butt, and he could see where 50. He said 50% of the people get off, but that's a little larger percentage than typically most people consider. Most people feel like that about 25 to 30% of the people quit by the time they get to Neil's Gap. But he did say it was 12 degrees one morning when he woke up, and his water bottle, what he got it unfrozen at camp, and then 30 minutes after he was hiking down the trail, it was froze up again. So cold conditions this past week down there in Georgia. And Aquaman, now he is our Sobo hiker that we have been followed. So he started Sobo from Katahdin this year, and he has made it over Moosilauke, and he is out of the white. So he's pretty excited about that. He'll be hitting Vermont pretty soon, and the conditions there will be frozen, so we won't have to deal with mud too much. But he still will have to deal with the rocks and roots, and the icy conditions over those things will make those really slick. But he said he looks like he may get his first 40-degree day in about a month, but he's not counting his chickens before they hatch. So for him, 40 degrees would be like a heat storm, because he has been in temps that were around zero and single digits, and wind chills that were in the teens below zero. So that will be balmy conditions for him. He also said the longer days have really been a morale booster for him, because now it is staying daylight beyond 5 o'clock. So the sun's staying up after 5 for him now. So I'm sure that just helps him out with having a longer hiking day, and maybe staying a little warmer while he's setting up camp. Speed Goat, he couldn't wait till February to step off, so he is on the trail now, and he should be in mountain crosses by now. He did say it has been some very cold nights. Greg from Maryland, he's been off trail for about 2 weeks due to the icy conditions and the big snowstorm they had down there. He's getting ready to get back on there at Dix Creek. And Pacifier, she is made it to Trey Mountain Gap, and actually did Trey Mountain to Unicoi Sobo. So she is at Nobo, but she had a mix up with the shuttle, and the shuttle driver dropped her off at Trey Mountain Gap. So she just rolled with it and hiked Sobo back to Unicoi Gap, and her truck was there, so that worked out anyway. She did say that the trail was very icy with a lot of snow, particularly the last mile and 2/10 coming down into Unicoi Gap was very, very slick coming down in there. So she's looking forward to next week and having some little nicer temperatures and a little more ice and stuff getting off the trail. So seeing a trend here, even though we don't have it coming down or precipitating, we still got some ice and snow out there on the trail down in Georgia. Jay Wu, he left a day or so ago. He was number 41 to step off at Springer, and he says it's been cold. It's 15 degrees one morning with an inch of snow, and he said that it has been getting down to in the teens at night as well. Subman, he plans to get back on either Monday or Tuesday this week. He'll be getting back on at the Knock. He tried to go back out earlier, but it was just a little too icy for him, and he didn't want to wear cleats all day. So if you are a thru hiker that's out there and you want to be included in our updates each week, by all means, please just send me a DM, or email works great. And those links are down below in the description section. Also, if you're a thru hiker and you're not on our list and you want the hiker community to be able to follow along and send comments to you and just keep you spurred along all the way throughout your track, then that link to down below to fill yourself in on that form and to populate yourself to that spreadsheet is down below, as is the link to the spreadsheet, so the hiker community can go and find and keep you pumped up all the way throughout your journey. So we got some folks that are starting next week, a lot of folks from the list that are starting next week. We got Scatterbrain is starting on February 1st, as is T, Popper Bear, Mushroom, and Peacock Dog, Blaze Dog, all starting February 1st. And then on the 2nd, we got Crow, The Breeze, Radioactive is starting on the 6th, and The Breeze is starting on the 4th. And then we've actually got Richard Lee Klauser. He's starting, and he's going to be starting on, looks like he's going to be working on completing something from 2021. He'll be starting Sobo there in Bowling Springs, Pennsylvania. Mike Curtis, he's Nobo, will be starting on February 7th, and Picnic will be starting on the 7th. And then Adam Anderson, he'll be starting on the 8th, and he is planning on doing a yo-yo from Springer. So a yo-yo means that he's going to be going from Springer, Nobo, all the way up to Katahdin, and then turning around and going Sobo all the way back down to Springer. So he's up, down, just like a yo-yo. So if you want to be on that list, down below you got the links. Go ahead and populate yourself to that, and we want to support you throughout your whole track. Registrations continue to climb on the Appalachian Trail Conservancy site. So Nobo, we're up last week. Looks like we're up somewhere around a little more than 100. So we're up to 2,638 folks that have registered for a Nobo hike. Up about about 4 to 101 for flip floppers, and we're up to 79 on Sobo hikers. So last week we had 2,707. We're up 111 to 2,818 folks that have registered on the ATC's website. And last year, this time, we had somewhere around 2,502 folks registered. 39 folks had signed the register at Amicalola Falls this time last year. So right now we're sitting, as of this morning, we're sitting at 55, and there was a lot of people that are going to be stepping off today, or several people stepping off today, and so that is going to continue to climb. So we are ahead of the game where we were last year. Now the trail showing right now with the reservations, or not reservations, but the registrations, it's maxed out, up from 5 days last week up to 8 days this week. So more than 50 people, and that 50 is the threshold the ATC sets as the carrying capacity for the trail. And so we've got eight days that it's maxed out, more than 50, with 60 people starting on March 1st. March 1st. So 60 hikers starting that day, but don't forget though that on the days on each one days on both sides of those, and really the week of those days, you're going to have hundreds of hikers starting at any given time during the bubble and on the weeks on both sides of that. So a lot of folks going to be there during the bubble, and bunk space and tent space and places at shelters are going to be at a premium, no doubt. So some trail news out there. We did have some weather alerts that came in. I had a big storm that went through the end of this past week and this weekend, and really going to affect the trail through next week, particularly the next couple days, with a lot of snow and ice is still out there until we start getting some thawing. But on the north side, again, you're going to have in the shadows and in the shade in the north side of the hills and the mountains, the snow is not going to melt until the temperatures get up and stay up pretty high. So you're still going to have some possibility of icy conditions out there. The heaviest snowfall was supposed to be in the Connecticut, Massachusetts, Vermont, New Hampshire, and Maine areas, but you're still going to have some impacts down into North Carolina, as far south as North Carolina. So along with what's on the trail, though, don't forget with these conditions, you've got trees that are going to be down, that old trees, rotten trees, and this also going to, with anytime you have trees that come down, they take out limbs from other trees, which causes dead man. So look out for those dead mans that are up there in the trees, and because they're liable to come out, particularly during strong winds. So I had Marty sent me the page. Picture from the page down at the logbook at Amicalola Falls State Park. I always ask for those. So if you're a thru hiker and you're starting Nobo down at the state park, then please send me a copy of that or a picture of that. I always make sure that I blot out anybody's name or information that could cause a stolen identity. Main purpose of that is I like seeing and like communicating to y'all what the pack weights are out there. That seems to be what people most want to know about, is how heavy is your pack. So right now, look, Marty sent that past week, they had anywhere from 25 to 45 pounds is what people were carrying. That was their pack weight, with the average weight being around 34. Now, Marty had a base weight when he weighed his pack of 21. So typically you're going to add about 10 pounds for food, fuel, and water to that. So he would have about 31 pounds. So be interesting to see. Marty does have, he is YouTubing, and he is on our support list. So it'll be real interesting to see, how his pack weight what he drops off when he gets to Neil Gap there at Mountains Crossing. And also when he gets rid of his winter gear, it'd be real interesting to see what his pack weight is and how that progresses or diminishes throughout the course of his hike. So thanks, appreciate that, Marty, you sending that to me. Now about the bear canister giveaway, it's not really a giveaway per se. It's a lending program that doesn't cost anything. So what they're doing is the ATC and a bear manufacturer have partnered with the Georgia Appalachian Trail Club, the Chattahoochee Oconee National Forest, Amicalola Falls State Park, and some outfitters down there around the Hiawassee area. And basically, they're checking out bear canisters down at the state park down there. So the state park, you can sign up give them a very rudimentary amount of information. It doesn't require your credit card or a down payment or a deposit or anything like that. So really, I don't know how they plan to, if you don't return it, because it is a lending program. If you don't return it, I don't know how they plan to recoup that, and maybe they don't, but because if you carried that canister the whole way, it would probably be pretty beat up by the time it got back to them. But what they'll do is you can either drop it back off where you picked it up, or at one of the participating outfitters. So far, they're all down in Georgia. I feel like that's going to be moving up the trail more, probably into Vermont, because the Green Mountain Club up there is very much into wanting people to hike with canisters, and the Green Mountain forest up there is on the same, and the Long Trail, which goes through there, shares the same treadway as does the Appalachian Trail through there. So they really want you to use canister. So I feel like it'll move forward there. But you can return the canister by mailing it to any of those outfitters or Amicalola Falls State Park. Not sure how the ATC, how they've partnered, other than to put it on their website, because they are not listed as a place you could pick one of those canisters up. If you're flip-flopping, they don't have that listed as a place at Harper's Ferry where you can pick one up, where typically a lot of people flip-flop from, or up in Monson, Maine if you're SOBO. So I'm not sure how they're participating other than putting on their website. But in any case, if that's something you're interested in, they have two different sizes, a large and looks like a medium size that you can pick. And so if that's something you're interested in, the bear canister manufacturer has given them about 50, and down in Amicalola Falls State Park, they've got 10 as of this morning. So it's first come, first serve. I'm assuming there may not be any more once those are asked for. And I asked her if anybody had taken them up on her, and they did. And an employee down at the state park did indicate a couple of folks had. So not a lot of people like to carry them because they're bulky, and because they are, of course, they add weight. But the only place down in Georgia and really down in the south that requires them is from Jared Gap to Neil Gap. So that is only encompasses two shelters: Woods Hole Shelter and Blood Mountain Shelter. And there's only a 5 to 6 mile hike between Jared Gap and Neil Gap. So you can easily do that without spending the night at either one of those shelters or in that area where they require you to have that. I was thinking that there was another place they required you to have it somewhere on the trail. It doesn't come to mind right now. If somebody knows where that is, leave a comment down below. But that's the only place that I'm aware of right now that comes off the top of my head. And then if you're a subscriber, then you saw on my community tab where I had asked for people to help me out with the research project. I have concluded the interview portion of that research project, so greatly appreciate you folks that sent in, contacted me, and more particularly the folks that actually followed through and talked to me, allowed me to interview them. That was some really good information. Greatly appreciate y'all taking the time out of your day to do that. Very helpful. And I'll be putting out more information on why I did that research program coming up here in the near future. Don't forget, subscribe to this channel. Leave a comment down below. Love your comments, and I like answering those comments and just communicating with the hiker community out there. Give me a thumbs up down there. That really helps this channel and helps get it out to other people. And share this channel with like-minded folks. That really helps the channel grow. And the thing is, the growth is all about building the hiker community. It's not about me. It's about y'all out there. And so help me do that, be a part of that. Folks, that's all I got this week. Appreciate you, and we'll see you out there.